Okay, how do we get to work? Cars, right? Cabs?
Yes.
Cars. Pretty much anything since the early 1900s, thank you, Henry Ford, is done with cars, right?
Well, especially now after COVID, everybody wants to have their safe space.
Yeah.
So car buying is crazy.
No, car buying's nuts. So why, Jason, why the hell are we talking about cars on TARTLE?
Well, I want to talk to people that are in the automotive industry.
First of all, you're an expert in the automotive industry.
Yes,
you wrote the
I did
playbook
it
for
for a
Snapchat
yes,
on how they should advertise automotive stuff.
Yes. So whenever you look at the automotive industry, and I want to talk to those people specifically in that industry, and I'm going to present a couple use cases with you and problems that the automotive industry is facing.
Got it.
So one, and first of all, we have taking a dealership model, which is very, very old, and transforming it to a digital model. And then they are understanding one thing. Most dealerships, and everybody will agree on this in automotive, is leads are important. How we handle them is not being done exactly right, because we're left with salesmen that's been there for a month or whatever. But leads are extremely important. So let's start there, because you go ask any owner, principal of any dealership, you ask any sales manager, general manager, they're all going to say we need more leads, and we need good quality leads.
Oh, so
because they can get quantity.
Yeah.
You can go to all these different companies and buy lead sources, and they're expensive.
Yeah, but what's the problem with that? I got to start and just hit this right now. Okay, we got to fucking squash this. When everybody in the industry is going to the same big three people,
yes,
handing out leads, what does that mean? You are all squeezing each other. You're all trying to bite off the same flesh, and there's nothing left, but you got the bone there.
Well, it turns into Squid Games.
It turns into a Squid Game, right?
Yes.
So you have to understand, you need to go and meet people differently.
Yes.
You need to find where the blind spots were. You got to find those individuals that otherwise didn't have their data captured, that aren't on those leads lists that are being shared with everybody else, and you're paying through the nose for something that somebody already else has. That's not an asset. That's a commodity. You're buying a commodity. What you need to do is transition your lead into asset buying.
Yes, and leads, the most important thing with the lead is if you're just buying leads for lead sakes, and you're just getting a bunch of people that have microsites, because that's how they do it. They have they'll have
Oh, you went on Auto Trader?
Yeah. Then Auto Trader will have, maybe not them specifically, but we'll use them as an example. They will have 1,000 microsites that are out there that are like a sports car one, and then it shows your inventory, and then, and then it tries to collect a lead from all these different microsites, are like special rebates you only get if you buy a Jeep, and then that's a micro page, and then people feel that it's just landing page after landing page. But here's the problem.
Tell me.
Here's the big problem with it all. You're getting information that's passive aggressive information. You're trying to interrupt somebody in something that they're doing, and then you're trying to see if their intent is strong enough to fill out a form. But what do you do after that, and how strong is that intent?
Well,
do they really want to buy a car?
That's a great question. Why are they on the microsite? I don't know. Who knows what link brought them there? Go on Wikipedia, and you ever done the link game? Click on it. It just brings you page to page to page to page to page. How do you really know what the person wants? All you're doing is you're preloading the entire thing with a form because somebody clicked on an ad. Oh, maybe there's like a half a second of interest. What's the established relationship? What is it? Do you know anything about this person? Really, where they're coming from? No. You're just delivering a targeted ad through some online system, and the person happened to click on the banner. Okay, great. Okay, but does that actually drive the person to a conversation with the person who's going to sell them the car? No. Does the person really know what's going on with that information? No. Do they have any benefit from the start for filling that out? Zero. What's their incentive? If there's no quality incentive, you're not going to get quality information.
Right.
So you're working off of collected leads online that are frankly garbage, right? And if you don't want those, then you're buying it from some other group who knows where they got the information from, but they've also shared it with 1,000 other parties. How do we invert that model? It doesn't work. You got to find a way to establish relationships with those people you want driving your car. Okay? Why should they be a part of your brand? Well, you got to establish a relationship with them. You have to incentivize them. Medallia, which most of the OEMs use, to do their analysis on customer experience, they do it after the fact. And the Medallia's like, we got AI. We can tell you, we can predict what's going to happen. Who cares about predictions? Who cares about after the fact? The key thing is you need to drive revenue. You need a person to walk onto your lot and buy that car, sign the paperwork, and leave, and then come back as many times into your service department so they can bill you, and then you send it back to the larger OEM. That's your cycle. But I got to tell you, just understanding what happened after the fact, people are already exhausted from the car buying experience. It takes a long time. They're spending a lot of money. Why would you then ask them to give you more information after the fact and give them no benefit for it? That system doesn't work. It's broke.
And that's where TARTLE comes in, because what they're not understanding is when you incentivize something to do something.
Yeah.
Every sales floor that is out there, the salesperson is what? Incentivized to do that.
Correct.
Because it's funny, a general manager can go out there and put a spiff out for the weekend and say, you get an extra $100 for every car you sell. Well, he knows if he pays $1,000, there's 10 extra cars that got sold.
Correct.
Or more, depending on what's going on. And so,
because these guys are incentivized, like, we got to sell.
You need to do that with your customer. And that's where TARTLE comes in.
Right.
We're not asking you to pay any more.
No.
The $17 you're paying for a lead now or whatever, fine.
But don't pay it to some third party company.
Yes.
Pay it to the person that's going to spend that money back on your car.
Yes.
That makes way more sense.
So I mean, and if you want to, you can take all of your leads and all of that information, have it automatically go into TARTLE.
Yeah.
Through your CRM. We can even do the survey as Medallia, in your DMS afterwards, after the sales. That's really easy too. And we can work with your service department to create, we can ask them, how was your experience, all that stuff.
Correct.
We can do after sale stuff. That's cool. But I'm focused on before the sale, because this is the
hardest part.
The linchpin. The most important thing that you can understand that how TARTLE is so unique and so different from any other company and any other, if you want to stick with just leads, but we do some more than leads.
Yeah.
But is we can take your data and I'm thinking, I know a dealership right now who has 120,000 email addresses.
Why can't that dealership go to the 120,000 emails and say, hey, we want to pay you for more information. Go to this data packet on TARTLE, fill it out, and we'll pay you for that info. Whether or not you do anything with us after the fact, we are trying to understand you. We're trying to understand you in this area. We're trying to understand you and how you feel about your car experience. And
I'm not going to call out any companies, but there's a company out there that is doing leads and giving leads. And then they say, we need to be hooked to your system. We're going to take all of your data. Yeah. And then we're going to give you this lead for free. And then if they buy a car, and in the meantime, we're taking all your data. And we could do I won't do a whole show of what they're doing with the data, but you could guess. But you guys can contact us if you would like to know.
Hey, Jim, we got this dealership's data. You should check this out.
But because data is gold.
Yep.
So if anybody if you're paying for somebody to take your data,
something is horribly backwards.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Correct.
They should be paying you tens of thousands of dollars for your data. But
correct.
Because it's worth that much, dealerships out there. But here's the thing. Here's the crazy part. This company is so once you sell the car, then they have proof in their system because they can go in your CRM and look at if it was sold or not, and your DMS. So and then they charge like $395, something like that. So you're paying $400 for a sale of a car. And they gave you that person. You're like, yeah, I'll pay $400. But the problem is they're making dealerships compete against each other. They're making them drive the price below invoice.
Correct.
So you're already kind of losing money, and then you're going to lose $400 more. For what?
For what? So here's what we want to offer. This is our offer.
Yeah.
Okay. Remove yourself from this sick, deprived market that you're working in.
Right.
And move into a new one. Move into one where you have an established relationship, where you determine the price, it's not being squeezed, and the lead that you get is fully qualified, and it becomes an asset. And you pre-establish the relationship with that person. Not after the fact when you've done all the work and hopefully incentivize them to buy a car and they come in and then you ask them to do a survey. What's the likelihood of that?
Right.
Disney World has the hardest time getting surveys from people. And usually the only ones that fill it are the ones that are pissed off.
Right.
So how do you capture the people ahead of time to really know? And they'll be cool with you contacting them because you've already paid them.
Right.
They're like, okay, I'm cool. I get it. They were already incentivized to establish that relationship with you. There's an exchange. There's something real going on. Not, Why is this person calling me or sending me? I don't know who you are. Where'd you get my info?
Yeah, and this is some old school system that we have set up because automotive industry is one industry we deal with. We're a tech company to deal with a ton of industries. So this isn't some BDC, business development center, we have set up out of country and we're just, spamming people. None of that is happening. This is going directly to the person that you want to speak to.
Correct.
And we can take the leads that you have now and we could show you that. In fact, we have an offer.
Yeah.
For people, what the first data packets? What's
your first 5,000 data packets? We'll pay for it. So if you want to bake that into your leads up to your first 5,000, we'll do it. We'll prove to you. We'll show you. I'll hand you something. You're going to be like, "Are you shitting me? This information is available?" Yeah, it is. Isn't it important? Let's think about. Just to get a little wacky with this. All right. Say I want to acquire data on some of the people here in Albuquerque. Maybe I want to know who's 6'5". They may not fit in a Mazda 3.
Yes.
Why am I delivering an ad to a giant? Right? I can't give a clown car to a giant. in all seriousness, right? I should be delivering them an ad for our largest vehicle. That's probably what's going to make the most sense. Don't I want to know how much disposable income this person has? Would I want to know what they're currently driving? What the value of that is ahead of time? What their favorite colors are? What they're looking for? If they have a preference towards leather? How they want to be treated when they come to the dealership? Do they want to buy a car? Do they want to refinance? You would know all of this.
You're going to know all of that information. And the cool part about it too is maybe you want to have them not just be incentivized, but maybe you want to have them. Let's use Subaru.
Go for it.
That Subaru is the best example of this.
Yep.
Let's say you want to have them donate to a cause that Subaru supports.
Oh, how cool.
So if they fill out this information or share this information with you or send a picture or download, we have so many different types of options. We take all kinds of data.
All time.
So however creative we want to be with the process, then they can turn around and be notified that they can, if they do that, then it can be given to this organization that's not for profit.
How cool is that? If I want to, if Subaru wants to do it for some dog nonprofit, do it.
Yeah, or I think the big one is like a Sierra
bank?
Club or
and anything like that.
Yeah.
So those individuals, when you're getting their information, that market. They would be more than happy to donate the earnings they got from sharing their information towards a not-for-profit, because that's the whole point. It has to benefit everybody. And the models you have been using are archaic, out of date, and they only benefit one party, the person selling you leads, which they've also sold to 1,000 other people. You've bought a commodity, not an asset. You're dealing with corn. We're dealing with gold. So do you want to own the gold or do you want to own the corn, right? Because the gold is the thing that actually gets someone to come in and buy the car.
Yeah, and it's on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Which means that
there's proof that you own it.
Yes, that you own it. Yes,
that
exactly.
that lead which you bought came from that person with full consent.
And it's ethical.
It's very ethical.
Which in the car business, can be a situation.
We all know
situation.
We know the perspective that people have of the car business and internally.
Yes.
You don't have to lie to yourself. We know what's going on.
Yes.
Okay. You need to step up your game.
Well, it's just risk prevention for the owner. I mean, if you're and this is who I want. This is who I specifically want. I mean, we can talk to dealerships, of course. Auto dealer groups.
Yep.
That are large auto dealer groups. Great. We'd love to be able to have a conversation. We'll fly there, have a conversation with you. OEMs.
Yep.
We'd love to talk to it. But if you're a small dealership or a dealership that's out there and you would like to get your first up to
5,000
data packets and team up with us, we'd love to use you as a case.
I love that.
Yeah.
I really think that we can help the automotive industry.
Yes, 100%.
And I will hammer this over and over and over and over. The money you pay is going towards that end user. This is not to make TARTLE rich.
Yeah.
We
have a free marketplace.
I'm so adamant about this, right? Because people are like, oh, these guys are just trying to make... Well, listen, everybody's got to make money to survive. But you have to understand the value which you're willing to pay for that information goes towards that person.
Yes.
TARTLE will not take that money away from that end user.
No.
Ever. It all goes to them.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be clear about that. We brought on our chief revenue officer. This is how I explained it to him. You are not the chief revenue officer for TARTLE. You are the chief revenue officer for the people on TARTLE. Totally changes perspective. Totally changes the game.
100%.
Is this clear?
Yes.
So what I would like to do is I'd like to speak to all those businesses out there. If you want to start generating ethical leads, which are assets, and not work in this commodities world where you're already on the tightest margins and you're dealing with things that are very risky and you're completely unsure what's going to happen, if one thing goes wrong and you're on that margin, you can kiss your profits goodbye for the year. One bad lawsuit, one thing that happens with that data, it's over. It's game over. Things are not going to look good. That dealership's going to hurt. You're going to have to lay off some people. Let's prevent those things from occurring. Let's get ahead of it. Let's be defensive against these things. All right? And I can see that happening with these major automotive groups, with the OEMs, and with the smaller dealers. And we're willing to help you do it.